Every night, at exactly 12:01 a.m., the mirror in the bathroom whispered Sarah's name. At first, she thought she was imagining it, until one night, the whisper began responding to her thoughts. It spoke of things no one could possibly know, her fears, her secrets, her sins. Terrified, she covered the mirror with a cloth. But in the morning, the cloth was gone, and the reflection staring back at her was no longer her own. It horrified her. She could feel the anxiety crawling under her skin. Frightened, she covered the mirror with a cloth. But in the morning, the cloth was gone, and the reflection that stared back was no longer her own. It terrified her. She felt a tightening panic. Sarah didn't sleep all night. She sat on the bed, clutching her phone in her hands, as if it could protect her. When dawn began to break outside the window, she finally pulled herself together and decided enough. She would take that mirror out of the house. She took it down from the wall, carefully, avoiding looking into it. Her hands were shaking. It felt as if it weighed 3 times what it should. Sarah went outside barefoot because she couldn't wait. Morning fog lay over the ground. The damp air pricked her skin unpleasantly. She threw the mirror into the trash bin behind the house. It didn't shatter. It hit with a dull, muffled sound and seemed to sigh. She hurried back into the house and felt as though a weight had been lifted. But when she entered the bathroom, the mirror was hanging on the wall again. The same one. Sarah froze. She couldn't breathe. She approached slowly. Her reflection stood motionless, but the reflection's eyes gleamed differently. They seemed to look through her into emptiness. "Who are you?" she whispered in a hoarse voice, and the reflection answered. The lips moved, but there was no sound. Yet Sarah clearly heard a voice inside her head. E-M-U. The real you. She screamed and ran out of the bathroom. The next day, she called the handyman to replace the mirror. When the man arrived, he asked, "Are you sure you want it taken down?" "It's been here since the house was built. Take it down. Just throw it away somewhere," she said. When he turned to get his tools, his reflection in the mirror smiled. It did it first. That night, Sarah decided to sleep at a friend's, but even there, in someone else's apartment, she couldn't sleep. She went to the bathroom to splash cold water on her face. When she raised her head, she froze in terror. For a moment, her face flashed in the mirror, but it was marred with dark streaks, as if blood ran beneath the skin. "That's not me," she whispered. "That's not me." She ran out of the room. Her friend woke at the noise, but didn't understand what had happened. Sarah sat in the hallway, hugging her knees, whispering the same thing. "It can see me, even without the mirror." By the third day, everything got worse. In glass surfaces, in windows, on screens, even in water, Sarah saw herself. Not her likeness. Another, the other her, stood closer each time, and the each time smiled wider. When she turned to a psychologist, he only asked it, "Are you sure this isn't a result of stress or insomnia?" She said, "Nothing." That same evening, he received a call. Silence on the other end of the line. Then a voice, soft, female. "Did you look in the mirror today, doctor?" After the doctor advised Sarah to rest and not think about it, she realized no one would believe her. So she decided to act herself. She started with the house documents. The house had been inherited from Aunt Margaret, whom she barely remembered. Sarah had never wondered where all the old things came from. The dressers, the books, the crystal, and the same bathroom mirror with its dark carved frame. In an old box of papers, she found a yellowed receipt. "Mirror restoration, year 1983. Master William Hudson." Sarah dialed the number and didn't expect anyone to answer. But a raspy old voice came through immediately. "Hudson speaking." She told him she had a mirror signed with his name. There was a pause on the other end. "Girl, if it's the same mirror," the old man finally said, "you need to destroy it. Right now?" "Why?" Sarah whispered. "Because this mirror doesn't show reflections. It collects them." The next day, she went into town to meet Hudson in person. His workshop was closed, the windows boarded up. A neighbor said he was in a nursing home on the outskirts, When Sarah arrived there, "You, Sarah?" he asked without opening his eyes. She nodded. "I already know why you've come," he whispered. "The mirror chose you. It always chooses those who are hiding something from themselves." Sarah felt a chill. "What do you mean?" she asked. Hudson slowly turned his head. His pupils were pale, like fog. "It shows not what is, but what you are trying to forget." "Is it a curse?" she asked. "No, a punishment." He took out an old, cracked notebook. On the cover was a photo of a house similar to Sarah's. This was the Westone family house. The woman who lived there asked me to restore the mirror after a fire. It was blackened, but not broken. When I finished, she looked into it and began to laugh. She did not stop even as her life left her. That night, Sarah could not sleep. It seemed to her the mirror whispered through the walls, soft, like breathing. "Do you remember?" She sat, her heart pounding. "What am I supposed to remember?" she cried. Into the darkness. Then she saw it. Through the cloth on the mirror, a handprint had shone through, beckoning her. In the morning, she decided to return to the old Weston house to find any traces of the past. The house stood abandoned, half ruined. On the second floor, a room with charred walls and a huge black stain on the floor. Sarah wiped dust off the writing desk. In a drawer, a photograph. A young woman with dark hair, so similar to her that Sarah's vision blurred. On the back, a note. "Look in the mirror only when you are sure who you are." She realized she had to destroy the mirror. That evening, she brought a hammer from the basement. When she raised it, the reflection suddenly lifted its hand toward her. Sarah felt her fingers go numb. Her body froze with cold. "Don't hit yourself, Sarah," the voice from the mirror whispered. "You don't want to remember again, do you?" She dropped the hammer, and then she saw in a mirror that she stood with bloodied hands. Beside her, Aunt Margaret's body. The echo of shattering glass rolled through the house. Sarah fell to the floor. When she came to, there was no mirror in the bathroom, only cracks on the tile in the shape of a human face. That same week, the news reported a young woman's body found in town. Face unrecognizable, but fingerprints matched Sarah Gray. Footage from the scene showed shards of mirror among which the camera accidentally captured a reflection, a face smiling directly into the lens. The officers who arrived first thought it was a suicide, but no glass fragments were found, only cracks on the tile as if the mirror had evaporated. Detective Miles Kelly, a veteran with a cold gaze, left the bathroom flipping through a report. "The face is mutilated, but DNA is 100% Sarah Gray." "And the camera?" his partner asked. The recording vanished 3 minutes before the lights went out. But when the technician restored the video, everyone fell silent. On the screen, you can see Sarah walking into the bathroom, placing a camera facing the mirror. Then the image flickers as if the signal is being intercepted. And in the reflection, another Sarah appears. Only this one smiles. A voiceover whispers, "You finally remembered who you are." After that, the video, the lights went out. Total darkness. A few days later, the police received a call from the owner of an antique shop. She said a woman had brought an old mirror and wanted to sell it. The name in the shop book, Sarah Gray. This stunned the detectives. When they arrived, the woman was gone, and the mirror stood in the middle of the room, wrapped in a black cloth. Kelly stepped closer. The cloth had slipped a little, and he saw his own gaze. Only in the reflection he was older, worn, with dark circles under his eyes. He raised his hand automatically, but the reflection did not move. Then he realized this was not an ordinary mirror. That night he couldn't stand it and returned to the shop alone. The light flickered, the door creaked, the mirror stood in the same place, only now it reflected not him, but the figure of a woman standing quietly in the dark behind him. Kelly spun around. No one, but when he looked back in the mirror, the woman took a step forward. "Sarah," he whispered. She tilted her head and her lips moved. "You think you found me?" but I am you when you remember. Kelly stepped back, but the floor seemed to lose its solidity. He felt a cold breath behind him. He turned darkness. Again he looked at the mirror and saw himself, now with tears shining on his cheeks. The next morning, the shop owner called the police. "You have to come. Something happened." When the detectives arrived, the shop was empty. On the floor, a broken mirror. Among the shards, Detective Kelly's badge. Security camera fragments captured a reflection on the glass pieces. The face of the man who stood right before the mirror. His eyes were dark as bottomless water. He looked straight into the lens and smiled, exactly like Sarah once smiled. That same night, people around the city began to complain of strange things. In reflected shop windows, they saw shadows moving out of sync. In bathrooms, mirrors trembled slightly, and some said they heard a whisper. 12:01. Although the police officially closed the case, a note remained in the detective's archive. "Do not break the mirror. It will not disappear. It only seeks a new reflection." After Detective Kelly's disappearance, the case was officially closed. The reports listed nerves, hallucinations, exhaustion. But his partner, Detective Rachel West, didn't believe it. She had known Kelly for decades. He was sober, cold, and didn't believe in the supernatural. Yet in his last body cam recording, which never made it into the file, you could see him talking to someone in the mirror. Rachel found a shard of glass preserved in the evidence. She held it under the light, and for a moment she saw a female figure flash in the crack. Her lips moved. "Help me." That evening, Rachel returned home and placed the shard on a shelf. She sat opposite it, turned on a camera, and began to record. Today is October 19th. If this video is found, do not look into mirrors at 12:01. The clock ticked. 12 o'clock. 12:01. The light flickered. Rachel felt the air thicken as if smoke filled the room, and in the shard, she saw Sarah. "Who are you?" Rachel whispered. "You know?" the voice answered. "We are all parts of the same reflection." Sarah reached a hand from inside the glass. On her fingers was a tattoo, the same as Kelly's, the infinity symbol. The next day, neighbors called the police. The apartment's lights had been on for 2 days straight. When they entered, the room was empty. Only the camera blinked red. The footage shows the shard began to tremble, expand, and instead of mirror shine, a deep, dark surface, like water, appears. Rachel reaches toward it with her hand, and at that moment the camera turns off. On the screen, Rachel's reflection sat in front of the shard. It looked straight into the lens and said, "You are next." After this incident, people began disappearing across the city. The homes looked intact, but in each one there remained one clean, like new mirror. And if you looked closely, you could see a face inside it quietly whispering. A year later, a journalist investigating the mirror case found a box in the basement of an old house labeled Project 12:01. Inside are kits of medical records. The documents stated that Sarah Gray had been a patient in an experimental program of psychological duplication of consciousness. She had been split into 2 parts, conscious and unconscious, to study whether a person could speak with their own reflection. But during the experiment, the system went out of control. The unconscious pulled the conscious to its side. Sarah's body vanished. The first thing found after that, a mirror. At the end of the archive, the journalist came across the last file, a recording without a date. Only a short name, 12:01_last_reflection.mp4 in the video. Someone sits in the dark, only the face visible. It says, "We are no longer on different sides. We are all parts of the mirror." And the screen goes dark. On the black background, words appear. 12:01. Look closer. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you won't miss any new videos.